I want you to picture this. Your friend tells you that they finally got that job, the one that they've been talking about for months, the one that they were nervous to apply for and that they swore would change everything about their life. And you watch their faces, they tell you this, and it barely moves. They hit you with, yeah, it's cool, like they just found a penny on the sidewalk. Or somebody tells you that they met someone that they actually like the kind of like where their voice changes a little when they say their name. And they try to play it off like, yeah, whatever, we'll see where it goes. And you can feel it. You can feel the effort it takes to pretend that they don't care. That right there is the pandemic. People are walking around acting like nothing touches them, like Medusa has turned them into stone, like they've got this invisible rule in their head that says if you react too much, or if you show excitement, or affection, or show anything at all, then you lose points. And I get why it happened. I'm not here to roast you, I'm here to tell you the truth. Being nonchalant has become a status symbol. Somewhere along the way, we decided that the coolest person in the room is the one who cares the least. It's the one who looks like they don't need anything, or doesn't need anybody. The one who doesn't double text. The one who acts like everything good is expected. The one who always has an ironic comment ready, like life is a joke and they're just too smart to take it seriously. And I'm telling you, that mindset will quietly ruin your life, because life only opens up to people who can be moved by it. If you can't be moved, you can't be changed. And if you can't be changed, then you can't grow. And if you can't grow, then you're going to live the same year over and over again with different seasons to it. The reason this topic matters so much is because being nonchalant isn't neutral. It's more of defense. It's the emotional equivalent of keeping your hands in your pockets during a fight because you're trying to look calm, even though your head is spinning. And the wildest part is that everyone sees it, and everyone starts copying it. So now you have a whole generation of people who are starving for connection and meaning, and starving for something real, and they're all pretending that they don't care. It's like we're all standing at the same table, which is full of food, and we're hungry, but we're acting like we're full. Let me tell you what nonchalant really is. Nonchalant is really just fear, but it's been rebranded almost to make it sound better. It's fear of being rejected, fear of being embarrassed, fear of being too much, fear of being the one who cares more, fear of being vulnerable in a world that clips your worst moments and turns it into content. And people don't talk about that last part enough. We live in a time where being sincere gets you punished. You show someone love and someone will call you cringe. You show excitement and someone says that you're doing too much. You show heartbreak and someone quotes a meme under it like it's stand-up comedy. So what do people do? Well, they adapt, they become cooler, they get quieter, they act like nothing matters anymore because that feels safer than risking being laughed at. It's like we all learned to wear this emotional armor and we forgot how to take it off. Here's a story. I knew a guy who had the funniest laugh, like the kind of laugh that makes other people laugh. Not in a bad way, but just, it's contagious, It had life in it. And he was the type to get excited about small things, like a new album dropping by an artist he liked, or a late night drive, or a stupid inside joke. Then he started hanging around these people who treated caring like weakness. Every time he showed excitement, someone would hit him with that look, that little smirk that says, "Bro, relax." So over time, I watched him train himself out of it, very slowly. But over time, I could see it. He started laughing quieter. He stopped talking about what he liked. He started acting like everything was just whatever. And a year later, I saw him again. It's the same person, the same face, but it felt like the lights were off. He wasn't depressed in any way you could point at. He was just muted. And I remember thinking, this is what people mean when they say the world makes you hard. It doesn't always make you hard through trauma. Sometimes it makes you hard through social conditioning. You keep your emotions small because you're trying to survive socially. But you don't notice the trade you're making, because when you shrink your embarrassment, you shrink your joy too. When you shrink your vulnerability, you're also shrinking your love. You don't get to selectively numb certain things, and people think that they can. They think they can turn off the parts that hurt and keep the parts that feel good. But humans don't work like that. You start flattening your emotions out, and you'll wake up one day wondering why nothing feels meaningful anymore. Now let's talk about how nonchalant spreads. It spreads through pop culture in a way that's almost funny. Look at how many icons people worship because they look emotionally untouchable. The I don't care characters, the ones with the complete deadpan humor. Wednesday Addams energy, Patrick Bateman edits, the whole Sigma thing that people post like it's a religion that's become ironic now. Even in music, the cool thing is acting like you never needed anyone. Like heartbreak was just a minor inconvenience. And I'm not saying those things can't be entertaining. I'm saying people start copying it as a lifestyle. They start treating emotional distance like it's maturity. And then they wonder why their relationships feel hollow. It's because a relationship can't survive on being cool. A friendship can't survive on being cool. Even your life can't survive on being cool. Cool is a pose. But life is a process, and the process requires you to participate in it. Nonchalant doesn't just mess with romance either. It messes with everything. It messes with your friendships because you stop reaching out first. You don't want to look eager, so you wait. And the other person waits too. And suddenly, two people who care about each other stop talking because neither wants to risk being the one who cares more. That's tragic. It also messes with your family because you stop saying what you mean. You keep everything as surface level as possible. You don't tell your dad that you respect him. You don't tell your mom that you appreciate her. You don't tell your siblings that you miss them. And suddenly time passes and life happens and you don't have those moments anymore. It messes with your goals too because you start acting like you don't want them that badly. You don't want to admit how much they matter to you because if you admit that and you fail, well, it will hurt. So you protect yourself by pretending that everything's casual. You dabble in a few things, you try this out, you see what happens. Meanwhile, people who win are the people who are willing to care out loud. They're willing to want something and also be seen wanting something. They're willing to look like beginners while they try doing it. They're willing to be obsessed, in a healthy way, obviously, with building something real. Nonchalant has this weird effect where it makes people allergic to effort. They pretend they don't want something and they end up adopting that as their personality and actually not wanting to do anything. They want the results, they want the relationship, they want the body, they want the money. They just don't want to be seen trying. And I need you to understand how backwards that is, because being seen trying is how you become the person you keep daydreaming about. You don't get the life without the willingness to look imperfect while you're in the middle of building it. Really, at the core of it, I think nonchalant tries to protect your ego. But it does that at the cost of your future without you even realizing it. And this is where I want to slow down and talk about the part of you that's been hurt. Because a lot of people become nonchalant after they've got burned by something. You know, you cared and it wasn't returned. You got excited and someone made you feel stupid. You opened up to somebody and someone used that against you. So you tell yourself that you'll never do that again. And I understand that, you know, to a certain extent, it is healthy to do that. But there's a difference between protecting yourself and imprisoning yourself. Because nonchalant can start as you protecting yourself. And then it becomes a habit very quickly. And then after a while, it becomes your entire identity. Now you're the person who never shows it. And maybe you think you're safer. You might be, but you're also lonelier. Because building deep connections with other people require risk. They require you to show your hand a little bit. They require you to open up and say things like, I'm proud of you. I miss you. You know, I like you. Or you can also say things like, that hurt. I want more. You know, you have to communicate. And none of these sentences are cool. But as humans, there are things we have to say. And a lot of people are terrified of being human in public. So they put on a mask and they become funny. They become ironic, you know, they become detached. They become that Jim Halpert camera look meme every time something gets serious. Like, sincerity is embarrassing. And listen, humor is beautiful. Humor saves people, right? But humor can also be a hiding place. If every emotional moment turns into a joke, then you're not funny, you're just afraid. And I say that with love because being afraid is completely normal. Staying afraid forever, though, is a choice. Here's what nonchalant does to dating. Nonchalant turns the early stage of love into a strategy game, right? Everyone is measuring response times. Everyone is trying to appear desired. Everyone is acting like they have options, even when they really don't, even when they're lonely. So the connection never becomes real because real requires someone to step forward first. Someone will have to risk looking eager. Someone has to risk being the first to say, I actually like you. And when nobody does, you get months of, we're just trying it out. We're just seeing where this goes. We're just vibing. And zero foundation for anything more than that. And then people will say dating is cooked. Well, of course it is. If everyone is guarding their heart like it's a state secret, nobody's ever going to feel safe enough to build anything with someone else that requires giving that up. And nonchalant is also contagious. One person plays it cool, so the other person plays it cooler. Now both people are freezing. I'll give you a metaphor that sticks with me. Nonchalant is like keeping your house locked up because you're scared that someone might break in. So you bolt every door, cover every window, never invite anyone in, ever. And yes, nobody breaks in. But also nobody comes in to love you. You don't get robbed, but you also don't get warmth. Then one day you wonder why you feel so cold. Now let's talk about the cure, because I don't like naming problems without offering a way out, right? The cure isn't turning into emotional fire hose and just, The cure is becoming willing to be a little embarrassed. That's it. You become willing to be seen caring. You become willing to be the first person to clap for someone else. You become willing to send the first text sometimes. You become willing to say, that means a lot when something actually means a lot. You become willing to feel joy without asking the room if it's okay. Because here's a secret. A lot of people You might be included in this. A lot of people are waiting for someone else to set the tone. They want permission to be real. So if you become the person who sets the tone, you unlock a lot of other people. You give them the green light to also be human. And yeah, some people are going to judge you for this. They'll call it cringe. They'll call it doing too much. Those people are telling you something about their own fear. They're living in the same nonchalant pandemic. And your sincerity, you being sincere, threatens their coping strategy. So, of course, they're going to mock it. And you should let them. You're building a life, not a comment section. And if you want motivation that actually sticks, here it is. One day you'll get older, and you realize that the coolest moments of your life were never the moments where you acted like you didn't care. They were the moments where you cared so much, it made you brave. The moment you told someone you loved them first. The moment you apologized when you didn't want to. The moment when you took that risk, or you showed up. Those are the moments that you remember. Being nonchalant doesn't create memories. It creates numbness, and the more you are nonchalant, the less of those memories you'll have. So here's what I want you to try to do this week. I'm not going to dress it up. Be a little more chalant. Let yourself be excited about something. Say the compliment out loud without just thinking about it and letting it pass. Tell your friend that you're proud of them. Tell your family member that you appreciate them. Tell a person that you care about, I like being around you. Do it once and watch what happens inside of you. It might feel scary. It probably will. It'll probably feel embarrassing. It'll probably feel like you're breaking a rule. Well, because you are. You're breaking the rule that says your heart has to be hidden to be safe. And the craziest part is, the more you do it, the stronger you get, because courage is built the same way anything else is built. By doing it over and over again, like reps in a gym. The goal isn't to be dramatic. The goal is to be real, because life is short, and the saddest thing in the world is two people who love each other acting like they don't, until time makes the decision for them. So if you've been living behind the nonchalant mask, I'm not mad at you. I'm just asking you to take it off sometimes, even if your voice shakes, even if you'll feel corny. Your heart is supposed to do a lot. That's the point. And if you're trying something new, like letting yourself care again, like letting yourself feel again, like letting yourself be seen as someone who wants something real out of life, just know, I believe in you. You got this. Have a good day.